The INFJ personality is often misunderstood. They're quiet, and seem calm on the outside. But make no mistake, underneath that gentle energy is a powerful force. INFJs may feel deeply, they may avoid conflict, but they are far from weak. In fact, they are one of the hardest types to truly break. People often confuse softness with weakness, but INFJs prove that real strength doesn't always shout. It doesn't always fight back in loud ways. Sometimes strength is silent. Sometimes it stands still while the storm rages, and still doesn't fall. What makes the INFJ different is how they deal with pain. They don't hide from it. They face it, they study it, and somehow they turn it into something meaningful. This is not about being untouched by hurt. It's about being unshaken by it in the end. They've been betrayed, lied to, used, but they still show up. They still care, and they still stand by what they believe in. That's not just resilience. That's something deeper, something stronger, something unbreakable. Many INFJs have been through emotional wars, and instead of becoming bitter, they became wiser. Instead of breaking down, they built themselves back up with more self-awareness, more control, and more power than ever before. So why can't people break them? Why do INFJs survive what others would collapse under? The answer is not simple, but it is real. It's built into who they are. It's shaped by how they think, how they feel, and how they grow. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 brutal reasons why no one, not a manipulator, not a narcissist, not a liar, can truly break an INFJ. These are not easy traits. They're forged in pain, tested in silence, and proven in how INFJs keep rising when others think they're done. These reasons aren't about toughness. They're about endurance, quiet fire, and the kind of strength that builds from the inside out. If you are an INFJ, you may not see yourself as powerful, but after this, you might. Let's get into it. Reason 1. Deep inner strength. INFJs don't show off. They don't chase power. But deep inside them is a kind of strength that doesn't crack under pressure. You won't always see it. In fact, most people overlook it completely until it's the only thing left standing. This inner strength is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It's quiet, but it's always there. When things fall apart, INFJs go inward. They reflect, they process, and they begin to rebuild, starting with their own mind and heart. This is one of the brutal truths about INFJ. Their strength comes from the very pain meant to destroy them. Every betrayal, every lie, every heartbreak gets turned into wisdom. It's not instant. It hurts. But it teaches them how to survive better next time, how to protect themselves smarter, how to stand without anyone else holding them up. They also have something most people don't: emotional depth. That depth lets them sit with pain longer than others can. While others try to run from discomfort, INFJs go straight into it. They explore what hurts. They understand it. And through that, they gain control over it. People who try to break an INFJ don't realize what they're facing. INFJs don't fight back the way others expect. They don't yell or attack. They observe. They step back. They feel everything, and then they decide. That decision is always personal. It's based on what aligns with their inner truth. And once it's made, they don't look back. That silent resolve confuses and shakes people who thought they could control them. Their strength is also found in solitude. When INFJs are broken down, they don't run to crowds for support. They go inward. They heal on their own terms. They come out of silence stronger than before because they trust themselves to rise. They don't avoid emotion, they master it. And that's what makes them so unbreakable. They've been through emotional chaos and didn't let it turn them into someone they're not. They stayed kind. They stayed true. That's not weakness. That's power. INFJs also know how to rebuild. Even if they lose everything, they still have their inner world. And that world is rich, strong, and full of meaning. They don't need outside approval to find peace. They build it inside themselves. So when someone tries to shatter them, all they do is wake up something deeper, something stronger. And when that part of the INFJ rises, it's already too late. Reason 2. Strong moral compass. INFJs are guided by something many people forget in this world: values. They live by a moral code that isn't based on trends, popularity, or pressure. It's internal, it's personal, and it's powerful. This moral compass doesn't move for anyone. That's why people can't break an INFJ. They can't twist their values. You can try to manipulate them. You can try to guilt them. But if it doesn't match what they believe in, they won't move. This makes them difficult to control. While others might bend to avoid conflict or to be accepted, INFJs don't. They stay rooted. That rootedness comes from years of reflection, pain, and self-honesty. They know who they are. And once they've found their truth, no one can take it from them. This sense of right and wrong is not rigid, but it is clear. INFJs are open to learning. But once they've tested something against their own values, they stick with it. That's what gives them quiet confidence in their choices. When someone tries to break them emotionally, maybe by betraying them, lying to them, or disrespecting their core beliefs, it doesn't pull them down. It separates them. It makes them cut off the connection. But it doesn't make them lose themselves. Their values also help them heal. Instead of reacting with hate or revenge, INFJs often choose peace, not because they're weak, but because they know who they are. They won't let someone else's actions change their character. This moral clarity also shows in how they treat others. INFJs don't hurt people just because they've been hurt. They don't sink to the same level. That's strength. That's control. And it's rare. You can't break someone who doesn't betray themselves. And INFJs would rather walk alone than walk with people who don't align with their truth. That kind of unshakable integrity makes them feel like a wall no one can push over. People may try to test them, challenge their views, push their limits, but INFJs don't rise to every argument. They know which fights matter, and they only fight for what's true. That's what makes them strong. Not anger, not dominance, but clarity. And in a world full of noise, that kind of clarity is one of the most unbreakable forces there is. Reason 3, emotional intelligence. NFJs are known for their emotional awareness, but when you add high intelligence to that emotional depth, something powerful happens. They don't just feel emotions, they understand them. And not just their own, but everyone else's too. This emotional intelligence is a major reason why INFJs are so hard to break. They can feel a storm coming from a mile away. They sense shifts in people's energy, tone, or words. When someone is trying to manipulate them emotionally, they see it. They may not react right away, but they notice, and they prepare. Many people break under emotional pressure because they can't process what's happening. They get overwhelmed, confused, or drawn into drama. INFJs don't fall into that trap easily. They pause, they analyze, they sit quietly and let the emotional fog settle. Then they respond, clearly and calmly. That ability to remain grounded in emotion makes them unpredictable. People expect emotional reactions. INFJs don't always give them. Instead, they stay steady. They keep their emotions in check while observing everyone else's. That unsettles people who are trying to throw them off balance. Their calm doesn't mean they're unaffected. It means they're in control. They may feel things deeply, but they don't lose themselves in the moment. They create space between feeling and action. That space is where their strength lives. They also understand emotional triggers, both their own and others. This gives them power in hard conversations. They know what buttons not to press, and when someone tries to press their buttons, they see it. They choose whether to engage or walk away. INFJs are also highly reflective. After a fight, betrayal, or heartbreak, they don't just get upset. They think, why did this affect me so much? What does this say about them? What lesson do I need to take with me? That emotional processing turns pain into wisdom. Because they've done this for years, they have a kind of emotional armor. They're not cold, but they're protected. They don't let just anyone into their inner circle. And when someone crosses a line, INFJs know how to disconnect without rage. It's clean, it's firm, and it's final. People who try to use guilt or fear against them often find it doesn't work. INFJs can feel the manipulation and name it for what it is. Once they see someone's emotional tactics, they become immune to them. That immunity is one of their greatest strengths. You can't break someone who sees through the game. You can't defeat someone who feels everything and still keeps their heart intact. That's emotional intelligence, and INFJs have it in rare supply. Reason 4. Visionary outlook. One of the most misunderstood strengths of the INFJ is their vision. While others are focused on what's happening now, INFJs are thinking 5 steps ahead. This long-term mindset is one of the reasons no one can truly break them. They never get stuck in the moment. They always see what's coming next. When things go wrong, most people panic. They react to what's happening right in front of them. INFJs don't. They zoom out. They ask, what's the bigger picture here? What's this trying to teach me? Where does this road actually lead? That kind of perspective gives them power in chaos. Their mind is always looking for purpose. Even in pain, they're searching for meaning. They don't want to suffer for no reason. So they take the hurt and turn it into a lesson, a push forward, a seed for growth that makes it harder for anything or anyone to stop them. This vision isn't about fantasy. It's rooted in observation and intuition. INFJs track patterns. They remember details. They connect emotional dots. They can see where a relationship is going before the other person does. They can sense when a job, friendship, or environment is about to change. That awareness lets them move before they are cornered. And when they do move, they don't explain everything. They act based on what they've seen and felt. People may be confused by their choices, but INFJs are never confused. They have already seen how this plays out. That vision protects them from walking into the same trap twice. In dark times, their vision becomes even more important. While others feel lost, INFJs hold on to the future. They remind themselves that everything passes, that something better is coming, that this pain has a point. That mindset keeps them going when others would give up. This future focus also keeps them from seeking revenge or acting out of bitterness. They're more interested in healing than hurting, because they see the long-term cost of staying angry, staying stuck, or staying small. No one can break someone who refuses to stay in the dark. INFJs always see a way out, even if they have to build it themselves. That's the power of their vision. Quiet, private, but unshakable. Reason 5, empathetic nature. INFJs are deeply empathetic. They feel what others feel. They understand pain even when it's unspoken. And at first, that might seem like a weakness. After all, when you feel everything, how do you survive? But for INFJs, empathy isn't just sensitivity. It's strength. They don't use empathy to please others. They use it to understand. That understanding gives them an edge. They see through masks. They hear what's not said. And they can tell when someone's behavior is covering up pain, fear, or insecurity. This makes them harder to fool. You can lie to an INFJ, but they'll feel the truth. You can pretend everything's fine, but they'll know it's not. And when someone tries to hurt them, INFJs often know why it's happening. They don't excuse it, but they understand it. That understanding helps them rise above it. Empathy also keeps them human. No matter how much they've been hurt, INFJs rarely lose their ability to care. They may get quiet, they may pull back, but deep down they still want to understand, to help, to heal. And that desire keeps them connected to their strength. This doesn't mean they let people walk over them. In fact, the more self-aware an INFJ becomes, the more boundaries they build. Their empathy becomes selective. They protect their energy, but even behind those walls, their heart stays open. Empathy teaches INFJs how to turn pain into connection, how to speak with compassion, how to live with kindness, even when the world hasn't always been kind to them. That's not weakness. That's power. Reason 6, commitment to personal growth. INFJs are not the same people they were a year ago, or 5 years ago, or even 6 months ago. Why? Because they don't stay stuck. They don't stay broken. They're committed to personal growth in a way that turns pain into progress. No matter what happens to them, INFJs look for a way to grow from it. They don't like to stay in the same emotional space too long. Even if they're hurt, they ask, what am I supposed to learn here? How do I become stronger from this? That's the kind of mindset that makes them impossible to break. Many INFJs start life feeling out of place, sensitive, misunderstood. But over time, they learn how to turn those traits into tools. They study psychology. They read about emotions. They learn how to understand people, including themselves. They grow from the inside out. That growth doesn't always happen fast. Sometimes it takes years. But INFJs are patient. They allow themselves the space to rebuild piece by piece. That slow, steady healing becomes a foundation no one can shake. They also seek truth even when it hurts. INFJs would rather face an uncomfortable reality than live in denial. They'd rather feel pain and move forward than numb out and stay frozen. That honesty helps them evolve faster than most. They don't expect others to save them. They learn how to save themselves. They journal. They reflect. They go to therapy. They create art. They pray. Whatever tool works, they use it. And in the process, they gain strength most people never see coming. This commitment to growth makes them more resilient over time. What used to break them doesn't anymore. What once kept them stuck now inspires them to rise. Each setback becomes another step toward who they're becoming. They don't just survive pain, they integrate it. They take the lesson. They heal the wound. And they move forward with more clarity and compassion than they had before. That's not just strength. That's transformation. You can't break someone who grows from every hit, who rebuilds stronger every time. That's what INFJs do, quietly, consistently, and with purpose. The INFJ is often underestimated. People see the quiet, the kindness, the calm. They assume softness means weakness, but what they don't see is the fire underneath, the strength, the depth, the refusal to give up. No matter what life throws at them, you can betray them, and they'll walk away with dignity. You can try to confuse them, and they'll see right through you. You can try to break their spirit, but it won't work, because everything that was meant to destroy them becomes fuel for their growth. INFJs don't stay broken, they rebuild, they reflect, they grow, and when they come back, they're not the same. They're stronger, wiser, and more rooted in who they are. Their strength doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being real, from staying aligned with their values, from knowing their emotions without being controlled by them, from seeing the future when others are stuck in the present, from feeling everything and still choosing peace. They don't fight to win approval. They fight to stay true, and that truth makes them powerful. So the next time someone sees an INFJ and thinks they're easy to manipulate or push around, they're in for a surprise. Because what looks like softness on the outside is often the strongest kind of armor on the inside. If you're an INFJ, remember this: your strength is not in how loud you are, it's in how deeply you stand for who you are. No one can take that from you. No one can break it. Because it's not just personality. It's built from every moment you didn't give up.